Operations, we know that functions, two functions can be add, subtract, multiply, or divide. We have the function f of x and the g of x to form a new function. From this new function, from solving those operations that indicates by two functions that we have, we can be able to find or to give the domain or the value of x from the new function that we have. If the function doesn't have a denominator, the function will have its domain, which is all real numbers, negative and positive real or integer number that we can have. So addition, we have the four basic operation, which is addition, subtraction, and multiplying and dividing function. For adding, you're going to add the two function, which is f of x plus g of x. And for subtracting, you're going to subtract the two function, f of x and g of x. And for multiplying, you're going to multiply the two function, f of x times the g of x. And for dividing, you have f of x dividing the g of x, where g of x will not be equal to 0. So let's proceed one by one with the operation involving the two functions that we have. For example, we have this function. Find the sum, the difference, the product, and the quotient of the function f of x and g of x to determine the domain of each new function that we have. Given the function, f of x is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 1, and the function g of x equals x minus 5. That is the two function that we have. So let's start with finding the sum of the two function, or f plus g of x. So let's start with that. So f plus gx will be equal to x squared plus 2x minus 1 plus the second function g of x, which is x minus 5. If you still remember, when we are adding and subtracting polynomials, we can only add and subtract the terms that are similar. Okay? But those terms that doesn't have similarities with the other terms will remain at the cell. So let's start adding the function that we have, which is x squared plus 2x minus 1 plus x minus 5. Looking at each term, we know that x squared doesn't have a similarities with the other terms. So x squared will remain as x squared. And the terms that has a similarity is your 2x and your x, and your negative 1 and the negative 5. Those are the terms that are like terms or similar terms. So we can be able to add those terms that we have. So 2x plus x is equal to 3x, and negative 1 plus negative 5 is equal to negative 6. So that is the sum of the two function f of x and g of x that we have. So looking at the sum of our new function, we can be able to give the domain. Since the domain doesn't have its denominator, or the function doesn't have its denominator, so we're going to have a set of domain which is all real numbers. So our domain is negative infinity and a positive infinity numbers. Means all set of real numbers can be a value of our domain. If we don't have a denominator below the function that we have. Okay, so that is the sum of our function x squared plus 3x minus 6. We're done with the sum or the addition operation. Let's proceed with subtracting operation from the same function that we have. So let's subtract the two function, the f of x and the g of x. So f minus g x, which is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 1 minus the g of x, which is x minus 5. The same rule when you are subtracting, you can only subtract the terms that are similar or like terms. So x squared will remain at itself since it doesn't have a similarity or like terms. So 2x minus x is equal to positive x. Negative 1 minus negative 5 is equal to positive 4. So we have the difference between the two functions, f of x and g of x, which is x squared plus x plus 4. The same domain that we're going to have from this function is equal to the infinity number of negative and a positive domain. All the real numbers will be the value of the x or our domain. Since we have the difference x squared plus x plus 4. Okay? Okay na for this example, which is subtracting. Can I clear the screen? So we can proceed with the next operation, which is multiplying the two functions that we have. So let's multiply the two given function, which is f of x times plus 2x minus 1 times the g of x, which is x minus 5. If you still remember, when we are multiplying polynomials, we have the FOIL method, we have the distributive method in multiplying polynomials. So remember those methods that we have?
Teacher, which one's the faster one? Which one's the faster one?
For two binomials, for a binomial polynomial, we can use FOIL method. But if we have trinomial and binomial, we can use a distributive property since we cannot use the FOIL method. Okay, so let's use distributive property since we have trinomial and a binomial polynomial here on screen. So we're going to multiply each term that we have and the other terms from our function. So let's start with x. Multiplying the x, each term, and the quantity inside of our parenthesis, which is x squared plus 2x minus 1. So x times x squared is equal to x cubed. X times positive 2x is equal to positive 2x squared. And x times negative 1 is equal to negative x. Okay, then multiply the negative 5. The same with all each term that you have in the parentheses. So negative 5 times x squared is equal to negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times positive 2x is equal to 10x. Negative 5 times negative 1, it's negative 10x. So negative 5 times negative 1 is equal to positive 5. Okay, after multiplying each term that we have, combine similar terms to simplify the expression that we have. So x cubed doesn't have a similarity or doesn't have a like terms in the expression that we have. 2x squared, we have 5x squared or negative 5x squared. So 2x squared minus 5x squared is equal to negative 3x squared. Then negative x minus negative 10x will be equal to negative 11x plus 5. So the product of the two function f of x and g of x will be x cubed minus 3x squared minus 11x plus 5. So that is the product once we multiply the two functions that we have. We have x cubed minus 3x squared minus 11x plus 5. So the domain that we can have in this function will be at all real numbers, both the positive real numbers and the negative real numbers. That will be the set of domain that we're going to have from this function. A negative real numbers and a positive real numbers. That's the set of the domain or the x value from our function. Okay? Yes, Gabby.
How do you find the domain?
How do you find the domain? To find the domain, if we're not using the division, the set of all domain that you can have is all positive and a negative real numbers. It will only change, the set of domain will only change in the division operation. But for adding, subtracting, and multiplying, you have the same set of domain, which is all set of real numbers, both which is negative and positive. Okay?
Okay.
So let's proceed with the last. Yeah, all real numbers when it comes to addition, subtraction, and multiplying. Only the division part will change because we're going to base it on the denominator of the function. Infinite, yeah, negative infinity number and negative positive number. Okay. So let's proceed with the last operation to determine the domain of the function that we're going to have. So we're going to divide the function f of x and the g of x. So f divided by g of x. So we have x squared plus 2x minus 1 divided by x minus 5. We have two methods in dividing polynomials, which is the synthetic and the long division. Do you still remember how to use synthetic division? Nakalimutan na ang synthetic division of polynomials?
Yeah,
Sige, let's use the synthetic division first so that you can remember the synthetic because it's more easier to use the synthetic than the long division. But it depends to you. If you want to use the long division, it's more easy to use. It's fine. Let's use the synthetic division. In using the synthetic, we get the coefficient of our x squared plus 2x minus 1. Get the coefficient of each term from the function f of x. So the coefficient number of each term that we have in the function f of x is positive 1, positive 2, and the constant number negative 1. After that, divide each coefficient and constant number that we have
This is
within.
cursed. This is so cursed. What is that? That is cursed.
This is synthetic division.
This is synthetic cursed, is what this is. This is synthetic cursed. Look at that. It's not even like this. It's this. What is? Why it's going the wrong direction?
Which one?
This the symbol on the left. It's nice in long division. It curves like this and it goes above the numbers. But
Yeah.
this it hurts my eyes. It's cursed. Synthetic cursed is what this is. It's synthetic.
Okay. And using the synthetic, we get the opposite sign of the constant number of our divisor. The divisor, we have the x minus 5. This is our divisor. Get the constant number, the opposite of the constant number, which is negative 5. The opposite is positive 5. So that will be your divisor in using your synthetic division. So let's perform the operation using the synthetic division. Your first coefficient from the function x squared plus 2x minus 1, you're going to bring it down. After you bring down the first coefficient, multiply it to your divisor. So 1 times 5 is equal to 5. And then add 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. After adding, multiply it again to your divisor. 7 times 5, which is equal to 35. Add negative 1 plus 35, which is equal to positive 34. After solving using your synthetic division, this number that you have below will stand as your coefficient, the constant number, and the remainder once you divide the function that we have. So since the first term in the function is x squared, deduct one exponent to the first term. So it will become 1. The degree will become 1. Since you have the coefficient number, which is 1, so you will use variable x, since we're not going to write 1, since it's invisible 1. So we have x plus 7, and we have the remainder, which is 34. That is the quotient. Once we divide the two function x squared plus 2x minus 1. That is synthetic. If you want to use long division, this is long division. Okay. So x squared plus 2x minus 1 divided by x minus 5. Let's see if we're going to have the same answer. So x squared divided by x is equal to x. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Subtract. So x squared minus x squared is equal to 0. So positive 2x minus negative 5x is equal to 7x. Bring down negative 1. So 7x divided by x is equal to positive 7. So 7 times x is equal to 7x. 7 times negative 5 is equal to negative 35. Subtract. So 7x minus 7x is equal to 0. Negative 1 minus negative 35 is equal to positive 34. So we have the same answer, which is x plus 7, remainder 34. So even if you're going to use the long division or the synthetic, you will be having the same answer once we divide the two functions that we have.
Which one is faster, synthetic division or long division? Synthetic division looks shorter.
For me, it's synthetic. It's more easy for synthetic. But if you're not so much fan of the synthetic, you can use the long division. Since long division is just the same process when you are dividing normal number, the same process. It just the difference is we use variables when we are dividing polynomials. But the process in long division when you are dividing natural numbers is the same process when you are dividing polynomials.
Okay, let's master synthetic division.
That's master synthetic division na. Okay. Sige. Okay na for this example. Can I clear the
Teacher,
screen? Yes po.
would you explain what you just did with synthetic division?
Very
Okay.
good. Good job. That's good.
Sige, let's have an example of two equations wherein we're going to find the quotient. Since it's more hard for you in finding the quotient of the two functions. For example, we have these two functions. We have f of x equals to 6x squared plus 2x minus 3. And we have g of x, which is x equal, plus 3. So for example, that is the two function that we have. F of x is equal to 6x squared plus 2x minus 3, and g of x is equal to x plus 3. We're going to find the quotient of these two functions. We're going to write it. We'll be having 6x squared plus 2x minus 3 divided by x plus 3. So using the synthetic division, again, in using the synthetic division, you need to get the coefficient and the constant number of each term that you have in the f of x. Okay. The coefficient that we have is positive 6, positive 2, and negative 3. Those are the coefficient and the constant number that we're going to use in our synthetic division. So 6, 2, and negative 3. Divide. Sige, let's write it here na lang. Divide the opposite of the constant number of your divisor. The opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. So divide negative 3. The first coefficient in using synthetic division, we're going to bring it down. So 6. Multiply 6 times negative 3 is equal to negative 18. Add 2 plus negative 18 is equal to negative 16. And then negative 16 times positive 3 is equal to 48. Negative 3 times negative 16 is equal to 48. Negative 3 plus 48 is equal to 45. Okay. The number that you have here will stand as your coefficient and the constant number once you write your answer as the quotient of the two functions that we have. Since the exponent that you have, the first term has an exponent of x squared, deduct one exponent to that first term, which is x raised to 1 or x. And you have your coefficient, which is 6. So you will be having 6x minus 16, and you have a remainder, which is 45. So that is the quotient once we divide the two functions f of x and g of x. Okay na? With the synthetic or hindi pa rin?
One more example and it's mastery. One more example and it's mastery.
One example using synthetic. Okay na, can I clear the screen for this example? Oh, another example. For example, we have f of x, which is equal to 2x cubed plus 6. And we have the g of x, which is x minus 2. So for example, that is the function that we have, 2x squared plus 6 and x minus 2. And we need to find the quotient of the two function once we divide 2x squared plus 6 divided by x minus 2. Looking at our function x, f of x, you have 2x squared plus 6. There's a missing term in the function, correct? Based on its degree. You're missing the x, or the degree that has one exponent. So if we're going to write the coefficient of each term in this function f of x, we have positive 2, positive 6. And the missing term, which is x, so you will be having positive 2. That's for your x squared. The missing term has a coefficient to 0 and your constant number. The 0 is the missing term in the function 2x squared plus 6. Divide the opposite sign of our constant number, negative 2. The opposite is positive 2. So bring down your first coefficient, which is positive 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 6 plus 8 is 14. So we have already the coefficient once we write the quotient of our function. So we will be having 2x plus 4 remainder 14. That is the quotient of our function. We have 2x plus 4 remainder 14. What?
Mastered. It's mastered. Mastered.
What if we have this kind of equation or function? Can I clear the screen for this example? Ayan.
Teacher,
Yes, po.
what if there were radicals in square roots and stuff?
What if they have the radicals in a square root?
Giving her ideas. You're giving her ideas. This is no good.
Sige, let's try. We have radicals and square root. No, we will not be having radicals and square root in the function. Mukhang ang saya-saya nyo. Sige, lagyan na lang natin ng radicals and square root. Ang saya ni Gabi. Okay, for example, we have this equation. For example, we have f of x equals to x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 divided by, or we have the function g of x equals to x minus 6. That's 2. X minus 2. So we have the function x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. And we have g of x equals to x minus 2. Getting the quotient between these two functions, x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 divided by x minus 2. So get the coefficient of each term that we have in the f of x function. You have 1, 2, positive 4, and negative 6. That's the coefficient and the constant number that we have in our function, divided by positive 2. Tama ba? Is it correct? Okay. Bring down your first coefficient, just positive 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Negative 6 plus 24 is equal to 18.
Mastered.
Mabilis ba? Akala ko master nyo na. We have 1 times 2 is 2. And then add. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Negative 6 plus 24 is positive 18. So we have all the coefficient that we are going to need to write the quotient of our two function. Looking at the function of f of x, we have the first term, the exponent of the first term is 3. Deduct one exponent in writing your answer for the quotient of the two functions. So you have x squared here. The exponent of your answer will be x squared. So x squared plus 4x plus 12, remainder 18. That's the quotient of the function that we have. Yeah. If you have remainder, you need to write remainder. Pero sometimes, if we have zero naman here, we'll not be having a remainder. For example, if you want to doesn't have a remainder, like this one. Yan, walang remainder tayo. Can I clear the screen? For example, we